Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People, because I know it's some tough times. This is not the start that you wanted, but myself and my co-host Andre Casseday, Bam, who's looking quite stellar with his new YouTube setup. I must say I'm jealous of it, but nevertheless, we're here to get you guys up to date. We're also going to have a special call in from our photographer Patrick live in Seattle from the field, so stay tuned for that shortly. And we're giving away I want to say jersey because you're just used to thinking about football and jerseys, but we have the giveaway winner tonight for the Carolina Panthers merchandise that we're going to give away each and every week. So that's a reason to tune in. Make sure you like the channel and subscribe. One more thing. There's a link in the description for you all to call in. We really want everybody to get used to call in to the show. That is why we're live every single pregame, postgame, to talk to you. If you want to vent, if you got a question, click on that. More than likely, no matter where we are, we'll try to pause if people call in to get you on. But yeah, we're here and we're going to talk about some things. I need to get one of my things right. Let's give me a mic check. I haven't heard you say anything, but I know I've been talking the whole intro.
Yeah, what's going on? I mean, I didn't want to take up any of your time there, but yeah, I mean, that kind of captures the mood of how everybody's feeling right now. Again, another dose of reality, and we'll talk about that heavy dose of reality that we just saw today with the Panthers' performance against the Seattle Seahawks.
Hey, what do you guys think of Andre's new setup there? So, is it good? Is it marginal? Does he need to improve something? I think it just needs to be a little bit brighter, but we'll work on that later. For once, you're
And
not
it's a work in
too washed
progress.
out.
And hey, it was a definitely a struggle to get it back up and running the way that we liked it, but that's why we were able to figure it out because we wanted to make sure that again we give you the best possible picture we can for all of you out there to enjoy our content.
And I just turned my microphone to a different one, so I probably sound a little bit better right now than before. Hopefully, I
Yeah,
do.
you sound
All right, so let's go ahead and get into a few of these comments.
crispier. I'll say that you sound crispier.
What's up, AJ Lindsay? Appreciate you tuning in. Ali Broderick, what's going on? Welcome back. I saw some positives today. Okay, we're gonna get into it. We want to hear from you. And then
Okay.
our member is here. Who's our member? Charlie. Charlie
Oh, it's
signed on,
hard.
saying hello. He says, I feel like losing Frankie was big in the run game. All right. I like that. I like
It's
that.
a huge loss.
I like that in terms of the feedback. Let me not confuse that with I like Frankie being hurt. But I like that in terms of the feedback that we're getting from you guys. Again, links in the description. We want you all to come onto the show, ask your questions or comments. Let's go ahead and start with some things that we're going to give you overall. We're going to move around a little bit, but we're going to get you in the loop for this Carolina Panthers team. So we are no longer at the bottom. Well, we're still at the bottom of the standings, but I want to give you some scores from the other teams across the NFC South. As the Atlanta Falcons did win against the Detroit Lions, they are now two
Did
and
they?
one. I can't read sometimes. So the Atlanta Falcons lost to the Detroit Lions. I'm
I was about
sorry.
to say, I thought you nearly gave me a heart attack there.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was the issue too. So the Falcons won. I'm sorry, I said it again. The Falcons lost 20-6, and then we had the Saints lose. They were up big, end up losing
They were.
to the Packers 18-17. Uh, the Panthers just lost, and then the Buccaneers play Monday night. So that's what you have for the current wins and losses, which means Carolina Panthers are still at the bottom. And we have everybody lost. Hopefully, Tampa Bay will lose. So I see our photographer has kind of come in, but I do not see his video yet. So, Patrick, oh, there we go. We're kind of clicking the video. I don't know if it's me, but let me go ahead and try to bring him in here. Let's see if we can slide him there. Patrick, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you. Can you see me?
I can see you. I may be having some bad internet, but you know
Chris,
Yes to all the above.
Patrick, what's going on? Tell us about the experience down there, or I should say over there in Seattle from this week's game?
Well, all I can say is it's going to be a long ride back to the East Coast tonight for this team. The play really matched the weather, which is it's traditional Seattle, gray and rainy. They had their highlights, but boy, the 12th man here at the stadium just reared its ugly head with 11 false starts. That's really hard to overcome when you're trying to hear the play and get the play off. And boy, it really just cost them all over the place here today. That 12th man definitely hurt them.
Now I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to let Andre take one as well.
It was nice to see the ball get. It was.
It seems like we have a little bit of delay, but we'll work through it. So here's going to be my first question to you, Patrick. You've been photographing NFL games for a very long time, and you've been to Seattle many times. How loud was that 12th man today? Was it the loudest you've ever heard, or just give us some perspective in that?
No, it was definitely the loudest I've ever heard it, and I mean again, and that they had that 12th man flag here for a reason. They earn it, Boy, it really is a big advantage for them here. It always has been, unless you take them out of the play. I mean, I remember back in 2015 when Cam came in here through that touchdown pass to Olsen, and it was like somebody had unplugged the music. And the Panthers just didn't give them anything today to slow that and even stop it or give them any reason to feel like they weren't going to have this game in hand. And that is always going to be a disadvantage here. You're going to have to play well. I just feel like the noise really took them out of their game. It was very somber along those sidelines there. It was really tough to watch Bryce just kind of stand there and have to watch the plays go. And I felt like a lot of times when I was looking over at him, it was almost like, you see, this is what I'm dealing with. And whether it's Andy Dalton in there or it's Bryce Young in there, it's the same type of pressure in their face, that line not holding them, those guys making the corner. That was tough. It was really tough too to see, a lot of our starting defense on that sideline for long periods of time today. I mean, Brian Burns is hurting, man. I mean, I watched him walk off the field at the end of the game today, and that guy could barely put one foot in front of the other leaving the field today. He gutted it out there playing, but boy, he doesn't have that speed to turn the corner that he's used to playing at here. And I think that really hurt them on the defensive side as well.
Yeah, and that noise today really kind of just sucked the energy out of the Panthers, especially in the second half, as they continue to just shoot themselves in the foot, play after play after play. So we've been through 3 games here so far in the season, Patrick. What is the out of gas level, if you will? Like when you look at the players when they leave the field and go into the locker room, just tell me what the vibe is like right now throughout the team.
Well, I mean, I've seen this before. I told Chris earlier in the week, I've heard this record play before, and I wish they'd take this out of the jukebox and put something else in, because the Panthers have been there before. I mean, for me, I just wanted them to be relevant this year. It's still very early. I want to see them grow as a team. I want to see Bryce given the opportunity to get back behind the line and show people what he's got. I just feel like there's not enough protection out there for them to actually do what they need to do. I mean, it's kind of like all the shiny cars are put away in the garage and there's nothing out driving around on this field. And it's difficult. It's difficult to watch. You could see the frustration growing in Andy Dalton with all the false starts, man. I mean, it's like, either getting the play in from the sideline or getting it on the line. I mean, you could just see the absolute frustration in that veteran's face. And he was under attack again all day. I'll give him credit for trying to make it happen. I mean, it was nice to see DJ Chark get some distance today and some separation at a few points to make some beautiful catch plays out there, and to show the potential of what is on the horizon. I kind of feel like the fans need to keep in mind that this is a team is in a rebuild. I mean, it really is. They've got a lot of young talent on it that just needs experience. They need time playing.
And hey, I'm going to let you get out of that rain, but I'm going to ask one more question so you can get out of that rain. The press conference, did you? I'm assuming you went in and had a chance to see Frank.
No, I didn't go in on this one. I felt like I covered everything I needed to see on the field with Frank. It's all over his face along that sideline of just a coach, many times just kind of looking up into like he was looking for the Space Needle or something from this stadium. I mean, it's just, it's not on the cards. It's not on the play sheet. How many times is he going to say, "Well, look at the tape. We'll look at the tape. I'm going to have to look at the tape." Well, you don't have to go to the tape. You can just see it right there on the field. This was a tough one, man. And the fans here really gave the Seattle Seahawks every advantage they needed here today.
Sounds like you're about to get hit. So that's probably our cue to go ahead and let you go. Get out of that rain. We appreciate it very much. We're going to go ahead and show some photos from the game that you took today. Thanks a lot, Patrick.
See you, man.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right. So normally we get to be on the field and hear those hazards, but it sounded like he had to deal with those hazards of rain and beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, and not only that, but just the crowd noise on top of everything else too. I mean, it was just pure chaos today out there for Carolina, and just trying to deal with all the elements. And then the rain, like you said, really started to pick up and kind of just made things even more difficult for them.
All right, let's get into some of these photographs. Again, Patrick Snyder just joined us live from Seattle. He covers the game for us, taking the photos that you will see on our Instagram and on our Twitter. But we're also going to show some now. And right after this, we're going to go ahead and pep things up a little bit. We're going to give away the merchandise, all right? So we're going to go through the photos, and then we're going to pep things up, give away the merchandise, and then hopefully somebody like, you know what? I don't mind talking to these guys. If you just want to fuss without cussing, I don't say cuss. I say curse.
Keep it clean.
Do you say curse or cuss? How do you say it?
I say cuss.
Is that like a demographical thing, like regional, like
I don't know. I mean, but it kind of just depends on the mood. I mean, curse if you feel more like sophisticated, or feel like there needs to be more oomph behind the word.
Yeah.
But interchangeably so, yeah. I say don't cuss.
Don't cuss. All right, let's go ahead and get into these images, and the great Andre Casseday will narrate them for you. Here you go. First up.
All right. So what we got over here, it's going to be a little bit of a delay, so just kind of bear with me here. Which one is this one that you have here?
Oh, Thielen. I'm sorry to know you had a delay. Thielen. Yep.
Yeah, so this one, I believe this was on the roughing the passer hit that Dalton had. When he completed that third down pass to Adam Thielen, a guy who had a big day today, 100 yards, 100-plus yards receiving, really a much-needed performance out of him. They really had a connection throughout the game today. We'll go to the next one here, popping up.
We got Chin on the defense here.
Yeah, Jeremy Chin making a tackle, or it was a pass breakup there on Tyler Lockett. I believe that was on the 2-point conversion that they had towards the end of the game. That one was really a frustrating play because Geno Smith had to be at least 20 yards away from the actual play, and he kind of just threw the ball up in the air hoping for something to happen, and they were able to complete it. A very deflating play captured in that image there.
Super quick comment from me. That play took I went to the bathroom and came back and saw that they finally had completed that play. And I'm like, man, that has to be a symbol of what is happening to the defense. I forgot who had mentioned it before on Twitter. It's the same story with this team. Kind of close. Defense keeps them in. And then second half, things kind of just eke out of control. But we'll continue to go through these photographs with the next one here. It looks like Andy Dalton.
Getting sacked, right? In this one here.
He's kind of going upside down.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of just with a defender on his back there. I mean, and that was the image in the second half. I mean, when they were in obvious passing situations, things were starting to deteriorate in the front end, and you saw a lot of that, specifically in that period of time where he was just on the ground, just trying to brace himself for what he knew was coming.
And then we're going to go to Dalton and Bryce together.
Yeah, interesting shot pre-game, or this was during the game, but there were some pre-game shots of them too as well. Um, a learning experience for Bryce as well. He's soaking in a lot of what Dalton was able to do today. I mean, he threw like what almost 60 times today. We'll touch base on that too. But this is a learning experience for Bryce. Just seeing, how the offense performed today, the things that they were able to do today that they couldn't do with him in the lineup over the past couple of weeks. Definitely a learning experience for him. But again, another tough way to go here in today's game.
Don't sound so excited, man.
It's excited, or I'm just trying to be straightforward with everybody right now. I mean, the excitement's already gone. The hype and the energy level already. I've said it before. It's out the window right now. I hate to say it.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick up the mood around here. I'm gonna earn my nickname, Man of the People. I'm gonna do something for everybody that's tuning in right now, watching this as we attempt to still grow this channel in the midst of a rebuild season. So please, if you're watching, I humbly ask for you to like the video and subscribe
Yes.
if you have not. It helps us expand. It helps us to still get interviews with players and coaches. And yes, do that if you can. So what we're going to do right now is going to go ahead and use some artificial intelligence to pick a random number so we can have our winner. Andre, we lost you there.
Get
So
back.
the random number is 12. And then I'm going to go over to our video for people to win. And we're going to go to number 12. Number 12 is somebody, I don't know how to say, Man Knee Gretter. I don't know. It seems kind of bad. Then he has a 666 at the end. I don't know, man. But he's the winner. So let's see if I can click on his profile and see. Okay. So maybe international flavor here, because once you go to his site or his profile, you see it says Manuel Negrete, maybe. Again, I feel like I'm butchering because I feel like there's a little international flavor to it. So I hope he's not over somewhere overseas, because then I'm going to have to pay extra for the shipping across the country and the water to get it to you. But nevertheless, we love our Panther fans. We love the people that support this channel. Manuel,
Wherever you may be.
yeah, I'm going to send you a message. Congratulations. You get to pick the merchandise that we have of Panthers gear. We have hoodies. I think they're mostly hoodies. And then we have the jackets as well. So I will be in touch with you to make sure that you get that. And thanks for watching
Hey, those
and
are good to have,
participating.
especially in the fall months that we are in now. Well, depending on where this gentleman is at in the world. But here in the United States, we have just hit the fall time. So it's definitely a good thing to have here, as the colder months are just around the corner.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into these stats. Nobody's called in yet. I don't know why. Any ideas
Come on
why?
now. I know you're angry. I know you're frustrated.
No
out
super
there.
chats. No likes.
We
Oh,
got,
we got some
that
likes.
link. We got that link in the description. Please do not be shy. We're here for you. We're friendly. We don't bite. I guarantee you. So please utilize that link, because we do want to hear from all of you out there, because, hey, it's pretty tough out there right now.
Let's go ahead and look at some of these stats. All
Let's
right.
do it.
Andy Dalton, 34 completions, 58 attempts. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure that tomorrow I'm going to have some more interesting facts about where that ranks all time for the Carolina Panthers with 58 pass attempts. It has to be up near the top. 361 yards. I don't know. You see in this graphic, the yards in bold is always off. I don't know why that is. ESPN is doing me like that. But 361 yards, 6.2 yard average, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times, a rating of 88.4. So this is what we're going to get into. Want everybody to join us in this. I'm going to start it off, and then I'm going to throw it to my guy Andre for a quick thought. So it was like, okay, what if Andy Dalton wins? What if he does well? What if Bryce Young needs a break? I know people were saying maybe they're giving, it's a PR move to give Bryce a break. Maybe he's not really hurt. For me, this game felt different today until the very, very end. But I felt like this game was different. I don't know if it's just because I was watching a quarterback that's different, but I'd like to hear you all's comments on that. Here's what I'm going to take away from this game and my feelings about why this game today was better with Andy Dalton. Don't confuse that with Andy Dalton is better than Bryce Young and that Bryce Young would not be anything. But I'm just going to say through these first three games, games one, game two, game three, why this game was better for the Carolina Panthers than the previous two. And there could be a lot of reasons, but I'm going to go to one. Zero turnovers. Zero turnovers. Yes, he also had DJ Chark and some other things going on, but having no turnovers was huge for this game to be competitive until literally the very end, right? And you also look at the yards per attempt. You know, Bryce started to get it better. I think it was around 3 that first game against Atlanta. It was around 4 that second game versus the Saints. Today, Dalton got it over 6. Let me bring that graphic back up. Yeah, he was just over 6, 6.2. He had 2 touchdowns. Bryce hadn't had 2 touchdowns. So as long as Bryce is hurt, Andy Dalton should be our guy. We don't need to rush this guy back that we're trying to have be our franchise quarterback. And there's no quarterback controversy. And yes, there's still a lot of other things to fix, but that's just my 2 cents about the Andy Dalton, the role that he played today.
Yeah, and he was definitely more than serviceable today. I mean, first of all, 58 passing attempts. That's a career high for him. I mean, let's just get that out of the bat. In his 11-year career, that is the most he has thrown, attempted to pass in a game in his entire career. So for him, he did what he needed to do. He kept the game close, while offensively they weren't as balanced as you would have liked. He was able to provide some explosive plays for this Panthers offense that we haven't really seen over the past 2 weeks. And so that's kind of been, the rather, pleasing part of this game is the fact that we were able to get something going offensively and fuel the offense, which we haven't seen really to start out. So it was a pleasant surprise to see them with those explosive plays. But again, it was the same story. In the second half, things kind of just faltered, and guys just ran out of gas on both sides of the ball. And that's stuff that they're going to have to address here as we move forward.
Let's go ahead and give a shout out. You know what we like to do when our members come on. We like to give them all the sound effects that we have. Tyrone Green, a member, as you see there with the special badge by his name. Hello, I made it back. We tried today, but on to the Vikings. Hopefully we can beat them at home for the first time in years. So speaking of the Minnesota Vikings, Andre, do you know what the Minnesota Vikings record is? They're
I believe
defeated,
they're 0-3.
just like the Carolina Panthers. We are 2
Yes.
defeated teams. So that means that next week we will, for the first time this season, well, I was setting it up wrong, trying to get too excited. Somebody's going to finally have a W next week here in Charlotte when the Minnesota Vikings take on the Carolina Panthers. I'm sure everybody's going to be at Adam Thielen's locker all week because he had a good game today saying, hey, are there any tips or any tricks? Are you going to give him the business? I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, but we do have a chance to get a victory coming up as we take on the Minnesota Vikings. Let's continue to run through some of the stats that we have here. The rushing. Miles Sanders, 9 carries, 24 yards. Andy Dalton was our second leading rusher with 11 yards. Laviska Shenault, 7. Chuba, 1 carry. So, you want to take this in terms of got any comments on this rushing?
Yeah, and I'll be quick with my remarks here because it kind of just speaks for itself. 14 carries altogether between 4 players. Again, we talk about the balance aspect of this offense, and it just was not there for them today. So, like with Miles Sanders, he needs to be at least in the 20s in terms of the amount of carries that he should be getting. There should have been an emphasis from the very beginning to run the ball, which is also leading into the point of, hey, we got to win on first down. And there were too many situations, self-inflicted situations, where they were behind the 8 ball And partly it's because of what you're seeing on the screen here. Not enough attempts running the ball. And Chuba Hubbard with only one carry, I mean, that's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. There has to be more balance in the offense, and those numbers suggest otherwise right now.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and touch on something that I probably should have made sure we touched on at the beginning. Let me see if I can tell you the time of possession because we've been talking about that lately for the team. So time of possession was pretty much split, basically identical. So it was even there. Total plays was pretty much even, 75 to 71. But let me see if I can quickly find this stat that I'm sure you all know that I'm going to be talking about here. Penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, both teams, in my opinion, had quite a few penalties. The Seattle Seahawks had 8 for 62 yards. I'm sorry, 8 for 82 yards. So the Seahawks got into some penalties too. But we had 13 penalties for 82 yards. And
That's got to be
I
a
don't
record.
And the biggest, most annoying from those was the false start. So, Andre, you know how many false starts we had today? You got that?
I think it
That's,
was 8, if I remember correctly. I know there were 4 on Icky. That I know for sure. But my count was 8.
yeah, I wish that we had some more stuff to give away. Because I could, it'd probably be more fun to play trivia and give you guys free stuff, but we don't have those kinds of funds and abilities to do such a thing. But let me give you the I think we had 9 actually, but I'm going to tell you for sure here in just a second. So yeah, you're right. It was 8. All right. So here's the sequence of why this was so dejecting. Let me go in order here. Fourth quarter, third quarter.
And I feel like a good majority of them were in the second half too, which is the other part of the equation there.
Yeah. So we didn't have any in the first quarter. So it's like, okay, we got out there, we're focused, we're locked in, we're not letting the 12th man affect us, and then it just
We're
started
moving and grooving.
yeah, it started to snowball. So then Taylor Moton got a false start in the second quarter. And then 2 plays later, Ikem Ekwonu got a false start. So to me with these false starts, the thing that was so make you want to pull your hair out is that they were just like contagious. It was like COVID of false starts out there on the field. Like soon as one person gets it, the next person gets it. So it was 2 plays apart that you had Taylor Moton and Ikem Ekwonu getting false starts in the first half. In the second quarter. Then you had a rarity. You had one from Ikem Ekwonu. So I'm not keeping track, Andre, if you want to try to keep track. There's a second one on Ikem Ekwonu. Then we go to the third quarter. And here's the COVID situation again. Back to back. Ikem Ekwonu, false starts. Back to back in the third quarter. So we're up to like 5 false starts at this point. We go into, I went the wrong direction. And then this is when it just, in the fourth quarter, it was like they were ready to go home. They were like, it's raining. We're not going to win. It's just too much. So we had Taylor Moton, false start.
Right.
Achoo, he sneezes in the huddle. Now Chandler Zavala gets it. We come out, Chandler Zavala with the false start. We go back to the huddle, Achoo, another sneeze. And then Chandler Wooten gets a false start. So it was out of 4 plays.
Achoo.
You had 3 false starts. And it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was your classic
8 false
example of a snowball effect that turned into an avalanche in the fourth quarter. And it was, again, one of those situations where they just could not control themselves. And it was just, they were shooting themselves in their foot. And, it just, again, became contagious to the point to where they just could not get out of their own way.
Hey, let's talk about injuries. I forgot to go back and do that. I skipped over that as well. You got the injury list because we had a lot of them.
And talk about snowball effect. That was quite a list of players, right? So let's start it off with Jonathan Mingo, who had a concussion, in this game today. He was ruled out for the rest of the game. We'll have an update, and now we'll go through with the rest of the players as well. We'll have updates in the coming days. Miles Sanders on the offensive side of things, he was out for a little bit, but he was able to come back into the game. He was on that report as well. And then you had Frankie Louvu, who had a hip injury, CJ Henderson, and then Xavier Woods as well. So three key players on the defense who were out of the game. And, with a team that was in dire need of secondary help, not having CJ Henderson out there for the duration of the game really hurt them. Frankie Louvu probably hurt them the most just because of their inability to stop the run in the second half. Losing a pass rusher, losing somebody who could also defend the pass. Very versatile player. The injuries mounted amongst the other things that kind of just compounded for the team throughout the course of the game. And it kind of just exemplified the gasp of air that kind of left the stadium for the Panthers today.
So with those injuries that you talked about, man, for me, I'm gonna show how I'm just gonna be real with you guys. For me, when I feel like a player's really cool, I hate it when they don't do as good as I want them to do because I just want them to do good. For me, that player is Terrace Marshall Jr.
Right.
He didn't get reps immediately as much as I thought he would when Mingo got hurt. I thought when Mingo went out, you were going to see him immediately, but no, you did not see him. You saw Laviska Shenault out there running routes before you started to see Terrace Marshall Jr. And then Terrace Marshall started to get some reps, and he got some completions, which we're going to show the passing yards here in just a second. But it was all short stuff. And so I feel like Terrace Marshall has slipped out of good graces with the team right now and his depth chart. And certainly he has time. I don't feel like it's going to be a move that they're going to make with him anytime soon by any means. But I'm definitely cheering for him to get it together coming from LSU. This is his third year and just doesn't seem like he's got it going yet. Let's go ahead and go to the receiving because I don't think we've brought it up yet. Andre, I'm going to let you touch on this. I'm going to step away for 2 seconds, but go ahead and cover this once it comes up.
That's a pretty good segue right there from that to receiving here. As we get the list loaded up here, Adam Thielen with a pretty sizable game today. 11 catches for 145 yards and a touchdown. DJ Chark, 4 catches for 86 yards. Two guys that needed to show up today, offensively speaking. They did their part to keep everything moving and flowing within the offense. Miles Sanders and Terrace Marshall both with 5 catches, and it kind of just drops off after that in terms of the distribution. Jonathan Mingo, 3 catches for 21 yards. Hayden Hurst and Tommy Tremble, respectively, with a catch. Same thing with Ian Thomas as well. So there was a lot of opportunities today for these guys to catch some passes. Andy Dalton nearly threw the ball 60 times today, so there's definitely going to be some stats there in that regard. But you look at Terrace Marshall, 5 catches for 35 yards. This is a guy that we want to see take that leap and try to be that leader in the offense. Jonathan Mingo has his spot in the depth chart, which kind of says a lot about how they view him right now. There was a pretty balanced attack in that regard, a little top heavy, if you will, with Chark and Thielen with their respective performances and then that drop off there. But this was the best game in terms of receiver output today. So, that's definitely a positive that you can take away from today's game.
Yeah, and Chark missed the first couple of games. Last week was his first game back. I feel like this game was his first game back where he was not on that pitch count. We got to see him quite a bit, and you really did get to see him and his deep threat ability. I'm sure that helped Dalton out a little bit with getting the ball around and getting some things underneath. But Chark, as I look at the plays from today, every time that the ball's thrown to Chark, seems like the comment is Dalton pass deep left to Chark. Even if it's incomplete, Dalton pass deep right. It's always deep that's mentioned when Chark has been targeted. And I don't know, let's see, if we go back to the screen here, that's the wrong one. He had an average of 21 and a half yards on his receptions, 47 yards as the long one. Thielen had a long one of 25. So there were definitely some good chunks that you see with Chark opening up the field. Just got to hope that guy stays healthy, continue to build some chemistry with Dalton and Bryce.
Yes.
But he already had that chemistry with Bryce. So that's something to get excited about as we're in a rebuild. Some people don't like it. But as we try to get things, as we take those steps to being a better team, that's something to keep an eye out on, is that connection with Chark. Let's go over to the defense. And we had Camus Gruber Hill leading with 10 tackles, 7 solo. Derek Brown getting a hit on the quarterback. Sam Franklin Jr., he had a good hit, but man,
He did.
did you see that hit that he received?
I did. It was that kind of
We
just
lost
speaks
you,
for
Andre.
itself there. I mean, when he's trying to oh, let me get this situated again. Sorry about that, everybody. But yeah, he did get some friendly fire his way after the hit that he delivered in the first half. Kind of humble, got a little bit of some humble pie there. But I mean, he made an impact today with the snaps that he was able to get, filling in for Xavier Woods.
All right. Sometimes I get distracted, but here we go. Derek Brown. I think I already mentioned him with his quarterback hit. We had Frankie Louvu, who was doing pretty good until he had to leave the game. Brian Burns had 3 tackles for a loss. And, here's one thing that I was excited about with having Patrick. So earlier, Patrick, our photographer that's on the field the whole time, joined us from Seattle. He said Brian Burns still didn't look himself. And he has a different perspective than any of us are able to have, because he's pretty much right on the field, able to see him closely. He's been photographing NFL games for a while. So that's darn good that Brian Burns is still maybe not 100%, and he's able to get the pressure that he did in the game today. So hats off to Brian. Hopefully he continues to recover pretty well. All right, so there's the rest of the defensive stats. We got about 20 minutes left, so we're going to go ahead and open it up for some questions and answers from you guys. I'm going to scroll up
And
and see the
again,
comments.
let me just say this too. That link is still out there for all of you to hop on and to make your voices heard. We're here for you. So please, in the comments section and in the description, go to that link that's there and hop on. We want to hear from you. We want to see what you have to say, because this show is interactive for the sole purpose of interacting with all of you out there. So please utilize that link. Don't be shy, everybody.
We got Rails that jumped on, said, "What's good?" Chris and Andre. Rails, appreciate you tuning in, checking us out after this loss today. And
That's one way to put it. A loss.
Trill Talk says, "Bust
What do we
Young."
have here?
So I feel like he's saying that Bryce Young is a bust. Trill, I don't know if you had any more comments in there. Let me see if you had it or not. But I'm going to assume that's what you're talking about. Feel free to give me some more depth to that. Shaq Bartol. Hi, guys. This team is very embarrassing, very frustrating, very annoying. I very much agree with it, Shaq.
Yes.
All right, B Stallion. Hey, Chris and Andre, a good, hard-fought game. The team seems to respond to Dalton at the quarterback position. Should they keep him there and let Bryce take mental reps until he's ready? Took more shots downfield. Andre's ready to go. Fire away.
Yeah, I think in the short term, I think the obvious answer to that first part of the question is yes, because you want to see Bryce Young get healthy, and you want to make sure that he is healthy before he hops back out there, and you don't want to re-aggravate things. They're saying 1 to 2 weeks for him, so chances are he probably will not be playing in the Minnesota game. So I would say he would be out there for them next week. But yeah, I felt like things were a little freer just because they had a veteran back there and Andy Dalton who knows how to play the game of NFL football and has the experience part of it down. Now, would I say long term, should we sit Bryce Young and let them take a step back? I don't think so, because I'm always in the position of, hey, how else are you going to learn than by actually being out there on the field and actually taking those reps? So, to that part of it, I say, no, you have to get them back out there because, again, you do not learn by sitting behind somebody and looking at a clipboard. Let me get that fixed again. But in short term, yes. But in the long term, no, he needs to be out there.
Yeah, and I don't have anything to add to that. That was perfect. Short term, yeah, when he's ready, bring him back out. Meanwhile, you don't have anything to worry about. So appreciate the question, B Stallion. Tyrone Green, hello. I made it back. We tried today, but I think I already read that one. On to the Vikings. He's a member, so I always make sure I pay attention to him. Here's an interesting one.
Absolutely.
Savage says the offensive line is trash. So I feel like a coach sometimes, but I'm going to be really honest. Every reporter that's worth their weight goes back and they watch the film because you cannot see the entire game when you watch it one time, whether it's the broadcast or whether you're in person. It's just too much to look at. You got 22 guys out there on the field. So I'm curious how much running room that these, Sanders had when he's been given the ball today. Because it seems like that the offensive line is doing pretty adequate at protecting the quarterback when he drops back. They're not perfect, but there's few teams that have a perfect line. But they seem very adequate when it comes to protecting the quarterback. There was 3 sacks today. But it seems like today, I don't know how much push they were able to get to give the running backs a chance to find some lanes. Would that mean that they're trash? It wouldn't mean that they're trash if they're good in one area and they need to improve on the other. They'd be trash if they were bad in the pass protect and bad in the run. Appreciate the comments, Savage. Hopefully we'll get some more comments from you. Charlie says, we did not play good defensively. I thought we played pretty respectable defense. It just wasn't until late in the game that kind of broke down.
Yeah, I think they just ran out of gas, just plain and simple. I mean, time of possession was pretty even, so that can't be an excuse. Mm-hmm. But you could tell towards the fourth quarter, towards the end of the game, like they were just done mentally.
Yeah, I'm glad you said mentally because I don't think it was a physical thing either. I think it was just a mentally draining thing. Again, with that 2-point conversion that allowed me to go take a potty break and then come back and see the completion. It was forever. And I felt like once they did make that it was even more mentally draining to have that happen to you. But as Tyrone says, 27 points is the most we've put up so far. Yeah, we put up 27 points, and I feel like the biggest reason why was that we didn't have any turnovers today. So it was good to see some points being put up. Looking for the next comment here. Feel free to call in, links in the description. Charlie says the real struggles we had were run defense, penalties, O-line, and wide receiver drops. Now, we didn't put up the stats from the other team in terms of how they did, but I'm going to pull it up really quick to see what they had for the rush. By the way, everybody that's watching still tuned in. And I don't go to talk about other teams too much because I'm got so much work to do about these Carolina Panthers. You know who I'm going to talk about today? The game of the day. That was like, oh my goodness. Do you have any guesses, Andre?
I think it's the Miami Dolphins game. That's my guess. They put up 70 points on that Denver defense. That's unheard of in the NFL. College football, yes. But during the NFL season, you rarely output like that. That's insane.
Yeah, so I'm going to come back to that because you're spot on. That's what I was going to talk about. But Seattle did do pretty well. They had a 5-yard average from Kenneth Walker III, and overall they had 146 yards. So they did pretty well. We just had 44. So big disparity there. But yeah, as we were touching on that, the Miami Dolphins final score in that game was Miami Dolphins 70 points. And the Denver Broncos 20. And I don't get into too much of like, man, that guy is wrong for saying this and like I think there's anyway. I'm just going to say Sean Payton, when he made those comments about the previous regime, and then to come back and go 0-3, and then on that 0-3, you've had a lot of bad, awful things happen. You lose 70-20. You lose by 50 points, and you still scored several touchdowns. Wow. So I know we all talk about that 2015 season, last time we made it to the Super Bowl, and how Denver was better. They were, but I think right now we might be sitting in that same misery park right now of where we stand. But we'll get back onto the Panthers, unless you want to have one quick comment.
Hey, I don't think we've ever given up 70 points in a game. I'll just leave it at that. We'll let them suffer in their misery back over there in Denver, Colorado.
Savage is ready for the Hornet season. Hey, you'll be ready for the Hornet season and over it really quick. I hope that's not the case, but that's usually it. You know, it's like, all right, we're ready. All right, we're over it. And then you're like, when do the Lakers come to town so I can see LeBron? Is what it comes down to.
The Warriors
Like,
come to town when we can see Steph Curry and all the other players.
Exactly.
And I'll just say this too, just to be quick. The last time that they won a playoff series, and then we'll turn it back, I was 2 years old. So just conceptualize that, if you will.
Hey, my little guy is 2 years old right now, man.
He's about to be a big brother pretty soon.
He's about to be.
I know
a big
he's
brother.
excited.
I don't know if he's excited. I was trying to find this picture really quickly of Bryce to share with you guys, because somebody said Bryce Young, like he wanted to play really bad. Boom.
He looks antsy.
I do want to play.
He looks pretty antsy.
But I'm just, I don't know what to do being here and not playing. But yeah.
Trying to take some mental reps. Trying to be a supportive teammate. Man, I just want to get back out there already.
Let's see.
You can tell it's eating away at him, though.
Going through a few more comments here before we get off. Ernest Capoose says, we better win next week.
Can I say something real quick about that?
Yeah.
I really hope we do, but Chris, we're getting to that point in the schedule now where, on paper, the opposing team is going to have the better betting odds, if you will, right? Like Minnesota, like they're on paper going to win. They're just a better team. Detroit, on paper, better team. And then we play Miami, I believe, the week after. On paper, better team. So we got to start winning some of these games where, you know, the crowd doesn't expect us to, because it's getting ugly. We're getting to that point now where it's like, oh boy, this is where it's going to start getting tough. And they have got to start digging in and figuring things out.
Hey, let me meanwhile plug this. We're giving away free merchandise every single week. What more can we do to help you all out as we trudge through this season with you? We got our winner last week. We got our winner this week. And here's how you continue to register, if you will, for the stuff. So on our day after game recap, so that's tomorrow, we're going to tell you the magic word that you need to leave in the comments. You also need to be a subscriber. So as long as you leave in the comments the magic word, you're a subscriber, you will be eligible to win the free merchandise, the hoodies, the jackets, all the things that we have Carolina Panthers. Some really nice stuff. Hope you all will enjoy that and think that, hey, Chris and Andre, they're all right. There's some good guys. Andre, you said...
Hey, this will give me more time.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
You said about that game next week. My man Shaq said the game can actually end in a tie next week.
You know how much torture that would be for us? And for Minnesota as well? That's like the worst possible outcome right there. I mean, you know, it's not as bad as a loss, but you're like, you know, could have won it. Yeah. We're not even going to entertain that. I don't even want to give any more time for speculation of that sorts.
Here's a really tough thing. We are 0-3 during the regular season. We were 0-3 during the preseason. So all the fans, and I get it, why it may be tough right now to cheer for Frank Wright and just to not punch the TV. But we're now 0-6 and watching games, you can say, yeah, those first three didn't matter. But it's just like mentally, right? They wouldn't matter, and we wouldn't even be thinking about them if we had won any game at this point. But now we're technically 0-6, and it's like it's a little dejecting. But Longman says, I feel like that game should have been at Bank of America Stadium. Didn't we travel to Seattle last year? Yes, we did travel to Seattle, but they don't. It's not like it's a divisional game where it's every other year. It's based on where you finish within your division, where they finish, and then they have this little Rubik's cube thing, and they determine how it works out. So that's how it worked out on that. While we had to play out in Seattle again next year. We got about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get through these and before we get off of here. So, can I ask your opinion on the Burns situation? Do y'all think it would be a good move to trade him for draft picks?
They tried that last year. At least that was what the rumor was, right? I mean, they could have gotten a haul with Los Angeles to trade his services there. I don't know if I can get behind trading Burns. But if you feel like the move that y'all wanted to make, why would you go for it now? Obviously, this team does not have a first round draft pick, and that's something that they're going to have to figure out down the road how they're going to acquire a pick of that sorts. But it's just such an odd situation because you know they want him. You know he needs to stay here. He's going to get paid. But, the question still gets brought up, and it's like, why? He's one of your more impactful defensive players. And, yeah, you may get something for him, but he's a hard player to replace. I mean, you just traded DJ Moore to the Bears, and you're like, hey, look at the receiving core now. He's a hard player to replace as well. So, in the short term, and really a simple answer to your question, no, they should not trade him. The situation is bizarre. This should have been over weeks ago because the price will only continue to go up with his contract. But it's just such a messy situation. And I know it's eating away at him because he wants to focus on football. And that should be the focus all day, every day during the football season.
So last year, they didn't try to trade Brian. They were approached about it. So I think there's a slight difference there. And they didn't. They last year felt like he's here, so we're protecting him. I am not against Brian Burns and the Carolina Panthers. I'm sorry, I'm not against the Carolina Panthers having a different mindset toward Brian Burns this year, right? Because you couldn't come to a contract agreement. And I feel like this at 0-3, you got to start thinking as you hear, well, we had to do what's best for the team. So at 0-3, and really not seeing where the momentum's going to come from. Things are improving, right? But let's say we go 0-5. Let's say we're at 2-7. That's going to look pretty grim. And if all your players just kind of look like they're developmental players that are just kind of like Mingo, and I got a concussion today, but what did you see really grow from Mingo today? You kind of saw something, but you haven't saw the flash yet. It says, okay, he could be really special. You have, I always want to get his name wrong, but I'm going to try. I think it's DJ Johnson. Did I finally get it right? And you've frozen on me,
There
Andre.
you go.
So I hope I didn't freeze up. Yeah, so we have DJ Johnson, who's a draft
got
guy.
it.
He hasn't been active for the past 2 games. So what I'm just going to wrap this up to say, you don't have any other guys that seem like they're about to have a flash of brilliance down the road. And if you still have that feeling in 4 more games, then you're going to be like, we need many pieces to get this thing going. We don't have those pieces. And you got to do something like consider the Brian Burns trade. Appreciate the question, Jimmy. Hopefully we'll see
That's
you
a
on
good one. Yes.
some more. We got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to put this one up from Donald Duck, and then we'll go to Supernova. I'll let you respond. But watching this team is toxic. It feels like a toxic relationship. She's going to disappoint you and piss you off, but you still go back, even though you know how it ends and the pain and misery it causes you.
I think that perfectly encapsulates how everybody is feeling right now. And the thing is, we keep going back, thinking things will change, right? The pure definition of insanity: repeat, 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 and expect a different result. And unfortunately, the results have been the same for Carolina, not only for this season, but for really the past 4 or 5 seasons. And so, what is that boiling point? What is going to be that moment where Carolina fans are just like, I've had enough, right? Bryce Young probably pushes that timeline back in terms of the frustration level, and then the brown paper bags over their faces showing up to, we're not at that point yet, right? But yeah, it is that back and forth that is frustratingly annoying. And you kind of just put it right on the spot there. Like, that was pure facts right there. I'm going to give that to you, Donald Duck. Which I'm glad that you're here, by the way. I was a little worried about you. We haven't seen you in a while due to Matt Corral not being around anymore. But we're glad that you tuned in tonight to hang out with us here.
All right, so we got 3 more comments that we're going to shoot through as we go to wrap up. Appreciate everybody again that's been watching. Always invite you to subscribe, like the video, turn on your bell notifications, and let's see. All right, Andre, I'm gonna. You feel? Can I toss all 3 of these to you? Are you up for it?
Let's do it.
The first one's pretty easy. All right, here we go. Toss it from Supernova. It was too loud for our boys today.
It was. It definitely was. And you could hear it on the broadcast as well. And it only fed into the momentum that those fans were feeling after causing a couple false starts. And then it just became a ripple effect. It just got louder and louder as they built off of the work that they were doing and distracting the Panthers' offensive line.
Hey, again, I want to know what you guys think of Andre's YouTube setup here. His lights. I like, the only thing I think I would like a little different is the blue is a little aqua. We need to get you a little deeper blue. But other than that, you have the YouTube.
I do have the remote.
Look, did you hit the wrong blue or something?
Oh, there we go.
Is that the blue? That's a little purple.
A little purple?
Are you colorblind?
Let's try a different one. I mean, it does say blue on the remote.
Okay.
I guess it's just coming up a little.
But that looks better. That still looks better because otherwise it looks a little aqua. I like it.
But hey, let me just say this too for everybody out there. I cannot look good without the help of the man of the people. So you really got to give all the credit to the guy who's behind the scenes making this whole shebang happen. That man right there to my left, the man of the people, Chris Jenkins.
Hit the like button if you like Andre's setup right now. Hey, we got another one for you, Andre, as we go to wrap up. Chris Johnson says, I will be counting my membership. I'm not sure what you mean there, Chris. I think you perhaps mean that you will be joining, which is what I hope you're going to be doing. You are one of our big, long-time supporters, and it would be nice for you to do that, so I appreciate it. And then I think I just deleted the last one. All right, here's the last one. I'll take today's loss over the last 2 we had. At least we had a wide receiver over 100 yards and some bigger plays.
Yeah, I was happy in that regard, right? The offense finally showed some life. They were on life support the past 2 weeks. They probably just weren't even alive, if you really want to know the truth, with how they performed. So finally to see some flair and some explosiveness with our offense, that was definitely encouraging to see. But in retrospect to that, too, the defense gave up the most points this season with 37. So while there were some positives with the offensive output today, there was a little bit of a setback with our defense. So, you want to talk about complementary football, all 3 phases in sync and balancing well. There were some positives, but there were some things, too, as well, like the past 3 games is, when you look at it from the season, that they got to take a look back and they have got to hone in and toughen out because, again, that was just not the kind of game that Carolina wanted to play today.
Alrighty. So a little applause as we come to the conclusion of the show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in so much. Congratulations to our winner for this week. Do I quickly have his name? Manuel Negret. I'm probably butchering his name, but appreciate you. You are the winner for this week. We'll start the contest again next week. I'm sorry, tomorrow. And we'll also be back on tomorrow night. So tonight, me and Andre are giving you guys a lot of our opinions, and tomorrow we'll continue to do so. But we're going to do that with answering 100% of your questions. So tomorrow's show is really a big Q&A with you all. Hope you will join us. Hope everybody will click on the link to ask us your questions, let your comments, vent, whatever it is that you may have. Andre, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, so kind of just, and the other thing too will give me time to think of a word for tomorrow as well. You kind of put me on the spot last week, but now I could be a little more prepared with the magical word that we'll offer up for everybody out there.
I'm
but
jealous
kind
of
of
your
just,
YouTube setup, man. Like when I put you on full screen, it looks really. Nobody's commented on it, so maybe it's just me wishing I had that setup with the blurry background. But like,
it's pretty clean. I
this
do
is my
like,
background, which is cool with the blue.
yeah.
But you go to this one, and it just looks like you're like a YouTube guru or something.
I guess I know what I'm doing, right? You give me the tools, and I utilize the tools, and there you have it. It all works in harmony. But to wrap it all up, everybody, today was a tough one again. And your guys here at the Charlotte Vibe, we're going to tough it out through it all. Yeah, it was definitely a performance that there were some positives, there were some negatives. The offense played better, the defense kind of took a step back. Andy Dalton did his thing to fill in for Bryce Young. So, where do we go from here? We're 0-3. The word rebuild is being used more and more frequently now. That was something that we didn't think was a thing 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, you got to stay positive. I'm trying to stay positive, but the energy continues to seep out of the Andre Casseday head and field, But nevertheless, there are some things that we got to do better. We got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot, and we have to stop being our own worst enemy. But it's a long season. We're only 3 games in. And there's still time to turn it around, but it's looking bleaker and bleaker as the weeks go by, and reality continues to be the hardest dose of medicine that we're seeing right now. So, with that being said, I'm going to stop rambling because I feel like I rambled long enough, right? But for everybody here, for all of our team here, Patrick Snyder, Chris Jenkins, the fellas that are keeping us going here, and all the hard work that we're doing here, it's all because of all of you, for those who are tuning in. We love what we do, and we hope to see you on tomorrow for our day after show, which will be a lot of fun. More giveaway opportunities as well. So for everybody here at the Charlotte Vibe, for Chris Jenkins, my guy, the man of the people, with the sweet setup that we just introduced tonight, Andre Casseday here for the Charlotte Vibe. Have a great evening, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.